Hello everyone and welcome back to She's a Cozy Gamer Girl. Today is a bonus episode for the Sims 4 Not So Berry Challenge. Today we are going to be building the lab for the scientist career for Minto. You may have already seen some gameplay here. I'm actually recording this before I start recording gameplay. And I would like to preface this by saying I lost a lot of footage here. So I lost all the footage of me completely dismantling and destroying the original lot and taking out some of the pieces and picking and pulling and starting the bones of the building here. Don't worry, I figured it out. Probably shouldn't happen again, but there are going to be several jumps in this video and we're just going to kind of go along with it. You'll notice here that there are definitely a lot of objects sitting outside on the lot. And every time I go into a career lot, I never know which items are actually usable and which items are decorative, because on the lab lot, some of these items are actually listed under electronics. So when I demolish the lot, I always like to pick and pull all of the items first and set them on the outside, and then I like to go ahead and build from there. You'll see it as we go through the video, but my idea for this lab was I wanted it to be a little bit sleek, a little bit modern. I know we're in the middle of the desert, and the original lot just looked a little bit run down, a little grody. And to me, if my Sim's working at a science lab, I think it should be, futuristic. We're doing work, we're putting in work. So I went ahead and for the general aesthetic, I definitely wanted to pull some modern, sleek brick, tile, whites, blacks, the whole 9 yards. Right now, what I'm currently working on is the little employee area. That just being, space for employees to come and cook food, shower, computers for them to work at, and then also there is going to be a gym upstairs. You'll notice it's right across from the greenhouse, which I went ahead and kind of upgraded from what was currently on the lot. I added some of those eco-lifestyle planter boxes, so can't wait to see how that turns out. Speaking of plants, for me, we know from Minto and me, we love decorating with plants. I love it. I'm a huge fan. But I figured in the scientist career, there is that special element that they should also be growing plants and cultivating and learning biology, I went to college, I promise. So you'll also see definitely a lot of plants incorporated into this build. I tried to hit the brakes a little bit, but I just couldn't help myself. For instance, as you saw in the mint build, I definitely put a lot of plants, but I was also trying to keep it kind of conservative because I know we could use cheats to purchase that lot, but I still had to keep builds and stuff in mind. Obviously, that is not a part of this with this science lab, so I kind of went a little crazy. But, I do love it. I spent so much time putting this all together, and I hope you guys like the whole aesthetic of it all. Just kind of speaking on what we're kind of already seeing on screen here, you'll notice that there is a first structure at the beginning of the lot. That consists of the main lab as well as the reception, the public restrooms, more study working areas, and just kind of progresses naturally from there. I didn't go into this with a plan. I was just kind of seeing where it all took me. So I'm not sure if it made into this footage or not, but you'll see me move buildings around, but I'm really proud of how it all came together. So basically, like I mentioned, I am recording this before I even get to gameplay. What I have done so far that I haven't recorded on screen was I went ahead and I created Minto and I moved her into her lot. So after this, I'm going to get ready to record gameplay. But the funniest thing was I knew I wanted to go ahead and remodel this entire science lab before I started gameplay for the Mint generation. So I downloaded a random sim off the gallery. I do believe his name was Handsome Hot Man. No shame there. I had him join the science career. I played with him for a day. I got him here for his first day of work, and then I got to work. How fitting, that's what the expansion pack is called. So I brought him onto the lot. I started decorating and dismantling and doing everything, and I realized that Minto was there. Why did my game auto-populate? Literally, it's it knew. You'll probably catch a glimpse of her. I do think she's standing right outside of the greenhouse, in between the greenhouse and this little employee area. I was just like, what the heck? I'm not supposed to see her here yet. So I thought that was really funny that that happened. And then when I did, in fact, finish up this lab build and I went back to go to her a lot and move her into her house, and I clicked on her panel and it showed that she was already in the scientist career. Like I said, I did lose footage, but from the footage I had, I probably had a well over 4 hours of footage to kind of comb through. Obviously, this is sped up. We love a good speed build. But I just had a lot of fun, you know, putting it all together and putting in detail. I know Min's going to be spending a lot of time here, so I just wanted to give Minto something special. One of my things I always like to do, I have rebuilt this lab a couple times in different save files throughout the years, is I always like to increase the number of computers around. I always feel like there's never enough computers. So I definitely dramatically increased those numbers. I think overall there's maybe 10 or 12 computers on the lot. Sorry, I had to do some counting there. I also increased the number of like synthesizers and all those crazy machines they work with. So there's 2 of each, with the exception of that one large circular rig where I believe they invent stuff. Like I said, I haven't, at this point in time, I haven't actually had any gameplay recorded, so I have to refresh my memory on some of the terminology here. Another lot I do like to build, and perhaps I'll do this on another special bonus episode outside of Not So Berry. Maybe perhaps I'll work in some sort of storyline in the Not So Berry challenge. Like I said, I'd like to kind of play a hybrid to kind of mix in other gameplay elements. Maybe perhaps I'll redo the hospital for the medical career. I've had a lot of fun decorating that one before in the past. If you've ever played the mobile visual novel game Choices, Open Heart was one of my favorite series to play through, so I always kind of like kept that in mind when I was redecorating the hospital. Granted, I have no literary or TV references for the science lab here, so I was just kind of winging it. Me personally, I feel like I always kind of wing it. Sometimes I'll take inspiration what I see off Reddit or Instagram, and I'll kind of roll with it from there, but you know, sometimes it just happens. You'll definitely see where it cuts and whatnot, because I had to keep coming back to this because I kept kind of like losing inspiration and getting frustrated. You will see several times, like right now, where I'm trying to like put in a little mini kitchen in this building. I couldn't decide where to put it, what to do with it, how many to do it. So you're going to see that lots of times where I do an area and then I just completely redo it at a later time. Several times in my Sims career, I've spent hours upon hours like building something or creating a sim, and I'll get tired and I'll just want to come back to it, and then I'll come back to it a later time and then I feel no emotional connection. I hate it and I just delete it. I just wasted all those hours of work, you know. Let me know if you kind of go through the same thing. Sometimes I just have no remorse, you know. But you know, we love that. We love when we don't have attachments to things. Me personally, recording this now before I've even jumped into gameplay for the Not So Berry challenge, I do feel like I absolutely love Minto, and I really can't wait to like do this whole thing with her. So you know more than I do at this point. Hopefully it's going well. Let me know in the comments if it is. All right. My original idea for this was to kind of keep things neutral, to kind of keep on brand with that sleekness, you know, blacks and whites, wood tones. And as I got further along in this, I discovered that some color did it really good. I was like, I need to bring more color in here. A part of my professional background in the real world is I do design work, and I started out with interior design. I spent so many years designing rooms for people's homes. I've done some commercial projects. So when I play Sims, I try not to have my real life experience come into it. My career background, might as well just share it all with you guys. I've worked in hospitality, I've managed bars and restaurants, I've worked in vet clinics, and I feel like all the expansion and game packs we've had in The Sims 4 always line up with what I've done. It's so funny, I remember when Dine Out first came out, I was actively in my hospitality career, and I was like, I don't want a game that's my career. I get enough of that already. I absolutely hated it at the time. That's why I'm probably no longer in it. But it's just so funny to note that I just feel like, you know, life imitates art, really, truthfully. So yeah, like I said, I wanted to bring in color. My personal philosophy in real life interior design is it's really going to depend on the client and whatnot. Obviously, this is Sims. Obviously, we don't have that many parameters to kind of go off of here, but I really started liking everything a lot more when I started to bring in color. You will notice that in the reception and entryway, I do keep things very, very neutral, black and whites. I feel like that client facing, like perhaps if someone was just coming to visit the science lab for some reason, I always imagine they wouldn't like come into the back area where all the lab equipment is. You know, they'd probably just have access to the reception, you know, the public restrooms, and then perhaps from there they can have guided access throughout the property. I kept that very sleek and modern to keep up with the whole feel that I'm going through. But once we kind of get behind closed doors of where our employees would actually be working, where our scientists actually are, that's where I involved a lot more color. You'll see here I kind of go back and forth on exterior styles of the building. I had a really hard time with this, honestly. I watch so many builders on YouTube. I'll have to drop some of my favorite builders below in the description, and I could watch hours and hours of building videos. It's one of my favorite things to put on in the background when I'm working. But I could just, I don't know, I feel like there's so many places in my skill set that definitely could use improvement. Like, I'm so amazed by some of these builders, you know what I mean? Especially builders who use custom content. You do see and have seen that I do have some custom content in my game by now. And you've probably noticed that it's mainly create a sim items. I do have a few objects that I like to use, but I'm still kind of like getting new into that. You know what I mean? Truthfully, a part of the reason why I lost some footage, I'm not sure if I've already explained this in the Mint build video. If I have, buckle up, it's story time again, round 2. I used to have The Sims on a 4 terabyte hard drive, right? Obviously that's a room. I do run a bunch of Adobe programs for work that I do in my design career, so I kind of need that extra room. And so it kind of got to the point where it's like I was really trying to pick and choose which custom content I wanted. I didn't want to go to work overload just because I do need storage and file space and whatnot. Well, when The Sims switched from Origin to the EA app, it completely ruined how I had Sims stored on my hard drive, right? So like I had to install it on my computer, and it was the worst, like the worst. I gave up. I didn't play Sims for like a whole year. That's kind of was also like a factor into why I took such a long break. It wasn't just because I was like in a lull. It was because I was just so frustrated, and I knew I was gonna have to spend money on like a new hard drive or something, and I just didn't want to deal with it, and I just kind of threw that into the void, right? If you guys could see me, I'm moving my hands. I don't know why. So basically what I ended up doing when I was starting to get back into this, and I realized, you know, I really wanted to start a YouTube channel just for funsies, I did in fact have to buy a new like external drive. Actually, it's actually like a thumb drive, like a USB. It's just super large. It's like 500 gigabytes and whatnot. Also, I would love to mention that it took me like a solid amount of time to like also figure out like how to put The Sims on a drive through with the use of the EA app. It took me so long, and I just, you know, I like to think I'm a tech person, but I guess I'm not. But anyways, so once I got that all kind of set up, I was like, you know what? I should start doing some more custom content. So of course I started things off with my Create a Sim items, my favorite creator there. I can never say her name. I'm gonna drop it below, the AH00B Brittany or whatever. Started there, and then I'm slowly kind of like dabbling in like buy mode and build mode objects. Like I said, I just think it's so incredible what all these builders can do, and I'm just here. I'm just hanging on, you know what I mean? Yeah, you kind of see me go back and forth here now, going back to the entrance, coming back and doing landscaping. Landscaping is one of my favorite aspects of The Sims. When it comes to like regular lots, I do try to stick to live edit and debug objects more than regular like bushes and trees and foliage, just because they are free, and so I know that helps with lot taxes. But here, you know, we obviously do have a little bit more wiggle room there because no one's actually paying for it. I love landscaping and decorating. I don't think I'm like the best at it, but honestly, I think it stems from when I was playing The Sims 2 as a child. There's some gardens and whatnot, and sometimes if I thought the gardener was attractive, I would have my sim purposefully like overwater and have weeds just so the gardener would come and stay longer. We'd have more chances to flirt. So, 12-year-old Natalie was a little schemer, I will tell you that. I think one of the last things I do, if I remember correctly, is I go through and I do the whole landscaping at the front. But I'm coming back here and you'll notice that I love those little patches of grass from the Island Living expansion pack. I wish I didn't have to click and drag and click and drag and click and drag every time. I wish it was just kind of like a kept on your cursor and didn't have to keep going back to the source. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. For the most part, when I do heavy landscaping, I usually like to keep things pretty random, pretty natural looking and whatnot to kind of like mirror the environment, I guess. But in this specific situation, I wanted it to actually mirror each other. So whatever I did on one side of the building, I flipped it and did the opposite on the other side. So that way they matched. To me, that symmetry just kind of went with the flow that I was looking for the lab itself. So you'll notice that I do match up here. Those little planted trees from, what is that from City Living? It's like my favorite tree, honestly, in like the whole turn of like potted plants and whatnot. I mean, I just wish it was like a little bit smaller sometimes so I could put it inside my Sims houses, but it's a great outdoor tree. You're seeing here that I loved doing the fountains for this build, once again tying into that modern feel. And I wanted to make sure that they all matched with, you know, wallpapering, tile, lights, watercolor, you name it. Once again, going in with that Hawaiian patchgrass from Island Living. It's a classic. I don't know why anyone, like, how could anyone deny that? What are your guys' favorite builds to do? Let me know in the comments. Do you like the builds that involve more like gameplay aspects? Do you like builds that involve just more for show aspects? What are your guys' favorite builders on YouTube? Drop them below as well. I'm always looking for new obsessions. You know what I mean? New inspirations. What are your guys' favorite packs when it comes to the build by mode catalog? For me, when they released the Greenhouse Haven kit, that was like a game changer because, once again, huge plant decorator in The Sims. So I really loved all the new plants we got, and those windows are literally my favorite. Like, I don't know what I would do without them. Like, literally, like, I feel like the one I loved closest to that was from the, oh god, I can never say it, Moschino game pack. Those windows are really cool too. So I used those a lot prior to these greenhouse windows. When these greenhouse windows came out, it's like all I've used. Here is where not having a plan to follow really started to make me struggle. I had an idea for the space and I wanted to do kind of like a broken up like chessboard, which you'll see come to life here in just a few moments. But I would like to preface that by saying, like, I don't actually know how to play chess in real life. Like, I've played it a couple times, but I've had to have someone, like, hold my hand the entire time. So when I set down the light-up chess pieces, I was like, this definitely is not what it's supposed to be. So don't judge me on that. I tried my best. But I just wanted to have, like, a cute little, like, walkway space to kind of give place for our Sims to relax when they're on their shift and whatnot. And I just kind of, like, love the aesthetic of a giant chessboard. Who doesn't? Also, these string lights from the Toddler Stuff pack are still my favorite string lights. till this day. Like, there's not a build that I don't use them. As you saw from the Mint build, that video that just came out for Minto's house, they're up on the upper deck too. Such a good light. I really didn't know what to do with the space. Kind of flailed a little bit, as you can see here. Just kind of contemplating what to do. I actually cut out a bunch of footage right there because I literally hovered on that screen for such a long time. But, you know, I finally get together with landscaping. Shocker. When I was recording a big chunk of this, I was actually watching White Lotus on HBO with my husband. So it's really funny. So I'm like watching this footage back right now, and I just keep thinking of like, oh, I remember doing this when this happened in the episode. Do you guys have any favorite shows? I know I'm personally super excited for The Last of Us Season 2 to come out. But, you know, I am kind of curious where they're going to take it, because I know how the storyline in the video game goes, but we'll see. We'll see how they keep Pedro Pascal around, you know? These new dividers that came with, I think it's the Open for Business expansion pack, right? The newest one? Or businesses, no, Open for Business. Who am I? Sims 2 girly, once again. Businesses and hobbies, that's what they came with, right? I love them so much. I think they're just like the perfect little outdoor partition edition. Love it. I have no idea if the Sims will actually use like a barbecue area on the lot there, but I really had no idea what to put underneath the microscope. Is that where the microscope is? Yeah, that's not the word. Telescope. I had no idea what to put underneath the telescope platform, so just kind of opted for something that I was hoping would be functional. I also love the new stairs that came with the Open for Business. Oh my gosh, can I not? The new stairs that came with the Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack felt like it really went with the whole sleek and modern feel of it all. We're kind of nearing the end of the footage I had speed build wise. I know I will go through and add in a little walkthrough as well as some screenshots for you here at the end. But I just wanted to thank you for tagging along, listen to me yap for the last 20 minutes. Hope you enjoyed. Perhaps this inspires you to make over your own science lab lot. Like I said, I just didn't want the same old gritty, dirty science lab that comes standard in the game. I like redoing all my community builds. And like I said, this did take me, I had about 4 hours of footage to comb through, but I definitely lost like at least another 2-3 hours. So I definitely spent a solid amount of time pouring some love into this. Looking back at it now, there are definitely some things that I would change, perhaps. But you know what? I'm happy with it. And I'm happy with it enough to show it to you guys. Let me know what you would do differently. Are you not a huge fan of all the landscaping? Like, I literally can't. It's such a It's such a crutch for me. You know what I mean? I've definitely done Sims builds in the past where I love using that little tiny miniature fence divider and putting the greenery in between it. I just like the feel so much. I feel like it just gives it a little bit of extra character. I do end up really liking these rows of the Hawaiian-like grass. I just think it's so fun. I don't know. I feel like if I was there in person, I would just kind of want to like sit outside and walk around it. Oh, I probably should have put benches on the walkway. See, these are great ideas I have after the fact. Hindsight's always 20/20, am I right? Here I am just filling in the last little bits, and I think our journey together here is going to come to an end very soon. You've probably seen me habitually save. Oh my gosh, never mind. I forgot I did the basement area. How can I forget that? The basement area in the original build just had like decorative items and like a shower. Once again, it was like very just dark and not the vibe I was going for. So in this sense, I kind of wanted to add like another employee area. So literally you're going to see that I just added bunk beds for them to rest. Right here, what I'm doing is I'm trying to add in more seating. You know, there's that empty space right there. I'm just not sure what to do with it. I end up going for a love seat, you'll see here, that goes underneath the stairs, which I think was a nice compromise, but that empty space was still is kind of killing me a little bit at the end. But all right, we should be going down into the basement here pretty soon. And here we are. Like, literally, it's all just like decorative objects. I don't think there's actually one useful object in there except for the shower. And it's that cool, like, sciencey shower, but just didn't have a place for it here. You're seeing me go up and down a lot just to, I dropped the flooring and the wallpaper. I'm actually a fan of the bunk beds. I know some people don't like them at first. I know maybe they're like a little buggy or whatnot, but I love them. The Dream Home Decorator pack is actually one of my favorite packs in terms of like options for furniture and designing and new swatches and whatnot. I also wanted to put in a small bathroom down here. I feel like I have so many toilets in this build. Probably an award for most toilets I've ever put in a build, honestly, if I had to think about it. Once again, just kind of eye-dropping to keep things consistent all throughout. And like I said, at the end of the day, I really like this build, and I'm happy I got to share this with all of you. And with that, that about wraps up the speed build footage I have. Let's go ahead and have a little look-sees at a walkthrough. All right, guys, so as promised, I wanted to go ahead and do a little walkthrough of the science lab. You can see we have Mito here. She's actually showing up for her first day of work. Love that for her, but want to do a quick walkthrough. We're starting here on the first floor. Like I said, we have reception. And we have good old Dennis Kim working at the reception desk. Way to go. Also, I hate this. Fail, fail, fail. Okay, I'll have to fix that eventually. Behind the reception desk, we do have this cutie little bookcase moment with some files. And once again, some more greenery. But once you walk in on this side of reception, some more bookcases and storage. Public restrooms. Kind of keeping it clean and sleek for any of, outsiders that be coming into the lab. Here on the right side, it gets more into the cozy comforts, the working scientists that you would need guided tour access permission to. At least that's what's the canon in my head. Through these doors here, you have the option to go outside. Like I said, here is that gorgeous little greenhouse courtyard. There's our girl, Eloise. There she is. Okay. Through that there, we have got the employee area. I love this little desk area I made. Spoiler alert, I have no idea if these computers are gonna work. I did not play test. Probably should do that. Kitchen area, bathrooms with showers, and then upstairs we have another desk area along with some treadmills and whatnot. Going back to the main building, going downstairs here, I have little bunk beds for anyone that needs a quick little nap, you know what I mean? Sometimes you're pulling late nights, I imagine, who knows? Into the main lab area, little working area, table for people to collaborate at, another little kind of kitchen setup to get you a snack and some coffee going throughout long shifts, more computers for use, bookcases, whatever the heck those machines are. Same thing on that side. Whatever the heck these machines are. I will put 2 of each, so they hopefully Minto will never have to be waiting on anybody, but we'll see. And then upstairs, we have this guy, that beautiful big boy, who knows. Another little desk area. Once again, I have no idea if it's gonna work. I forgot to play test, so you might have to see me pop in and out of build mode here when I do some gameplay. Just some more cute little plants. Up here's a garden. And then back outside, there's our cutie little chessboard moment. Cutie little barbecue area, telescope, rocket ship builder, and then just the landscaping to top it all off. Thank you so much, guys, for keeping up with me when I went ahead and redid this lab for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Should I update this to the gallery, or do y'all hate it? Let me know. Please do remind me to play test this. I'm sure it'll be fine for the most part. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.